We know that the deputy and the state, the city, and the DOJ. Our position is that defendants do not go away until there's full effective compliance. They're trying to make the argument that there's progress, gives assurance they can make progress, but progress is not compliance. And we know from our interaction with the community and canvassing that there is still concern around racial bias. In 2023, 90% of police reported about many communities on was targeted against Black civilians. And we also know that in 2024, 90% of stop and frisk is targeted Black civilians. We know that based on the July Ohio report, there are more civilian incidents in the city than a year or prior. So when we look at it today, we're not looking at, we don't believe that the city is in a position to leave until they prove that they can stop the racial bias and worse than not really what the city is.
Just, I help them with all of the audio and visual.
Yeah, like what's the difference? What is now we have the DJ.
You gotta I try to. I do a lot of free work.
I know.
I did too. That's why I just got off work, came straight over here to do this.
I got off work too. Right now, the feds come in to do is they put a bottom line and say it's not and so the forgiveness federal gives the fact that the issues that were brought up in the city, corruption, that we can still see today. Under investigation for federal agents for wire fraud. These are still together. And so if you take something you're losing the only real oversight team should have until you get them.
Something not the whole thing.
the biggest thing that we learned from engagement on our PCAB is that if members stand up and they say, you know, the relationship between NLP and what generations will say the reason why
Oh man.
you can't let that go away without it addressing the problem, and that's what
Okay, thank you.
Straight food and shit, man. Look at the officers who got to stop doing something that got me between the show. Shit ain't working, bro. Come on, man. So, I said if you want, Rex.
All right, thanks everybody for coming to communication. We are a non-funded group, so we were waiting on Hunter to give us some agendas. Thank you for your Okay. Good evening, everybody. This is a meeting of the First District Police Community Advisory Board, and this is our third quarter meeting. Our first and second quarter meetings were focused on the new crime and how we would navigate this, understand them, because that was a huge source of community concern. Can you hear me? Okay. Oh, wait, here we go. Starting over. First is Police Community Advisory Board. Can y'all hear me? Yeah. All right, thank you so much. So our first two quarters were focused on the new crime laws, because that was a huge concern for the community, that these laws were being passed in the state, and that we would be especially affected in the Orleans Parish and Antelope. Our first quarter, we had Professor Bill Snow, Judge Walter Hunter. They came to go down what was going to the legislature at the time. Our second quarter, we had Representative Lonzo Knox, who came out and broke down what actually passed. So based on that and community input, we put together a set of recommendations that we submitted to the police department, because that is the process of PCAB. PCAB was created under the consent decree to provide a vehicle for the community and the police to engage, to improve community and police relations, to inform the public, and to submit recommendations around policy and procedure to the police department. So we're very thankful tonight that we have Sergeant Dave Barnes, and we're also going to have Mr. Lieutenant Jason Williams, because we also need to know not just what the NOPD is going to do on the street with these crime laws, but what's going to happen from a prosecutorial standpoint. So what does the DA do, right? And that's really important to understand how he's handling these laws. We did originally have this meeting scheduled right when the hurricane hit, and we had originally a Louisiana State Trooper representative, because part of this discussion has to include LSP, right? And so we don't have that tonight, but we hope to have that in the future. The first part of this discussion, as you may know, or may not, the consent decree that has been attached to the NOPD for 11 years. NOPD, the city of New Orleans, the Justice Department, filed on Friday have a statement from Michelle, Office of Independent Police Monitor, who's going to make a statement. I have gotten a statement from the Federal Monitor as well. But the biggest thing to keep in mind as we go forward, we have a 45-day window for the community to engage and let the federal judge, the federal monitor, know what the community is feeling about it. So right now, I'm going to turn this over to Theodore, because we need a prayer, y'all, and we have to pray for our friends that are suffering right now. 1 second. And after everyone, whatever kind of say, I will say that. Well, Heavenly Father, we come to you at this time, Lord, today, on behalf of the community. Father, we're asking you, Lord, that you bless this community meeting, that everyone here come with an open heart and open mind. We bless all those that's in leadership in New Orleans. The police department, first district police, community advisories, the board, the PCAB, and Lord bless Ms. Morgan for getting everyone together in attendance. We also ask you, Lord, that you rest with the body, each participant, with the questions and concerns, and I hope you all will bless. Amen. Now we'll be. And Ron, is going to pass out the, yes. Okay. So the agenda that you have breaks down what we're doing today, but the second 2 pages, I met with Chief Deputy Governor on Friday, and he gave me, what is that, the original product, right? And it's about 30 or 40 pages long. But the last 2 pages are the information about how to submit your comments and submit your concerns and questions to Federal Judge Susie Morgan and Federal Monitor. So that's really important information. That's why, sorry we're delayed, but I wanted to make sure you had that. I wanted to make sure everybody had that because it's super important that the clock is ticking. It started Friday and it's ticking. So without further ado, I'm going to have Deputy Chief Nicholas Gardner come and tell you about this new update.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for your time tonight. First, let me just start off with saying that we didn't exactly file the report in the consent decree. What the Department of Justice and City of New Orleans filed was 5 weeks to start the sustainment period. So what we believe, what the Department of Justice believes, is that it's time for the City of New Orleans to prove to the court that it can sustain the reforms that have been working on in the last 11 to 12 years, and can do so on its own without the overwhelming technical support of the federal monitors and the Department of Justice. So this is almost like our ability to show to the court that the reforms that we put in place over the last few years are in fact not just, we're not going to remain in lip service, but that they will actually remain in place once the consent decree does dissolve at some point in the future. So just to be super clear here, the consent decree is not going away anytime soon. What we're asking the court to do is to start the 2-year process, the 2-year sustainment period, to demonstrate to the court, to the community, that the consent decree's reforms are in fact permanent reforms in this part. A few other parts of this is that there is a ruling in it, right? The judge is going to take the time to kind of look at all the data and documentation, and she'll make the appropriate ruling at the time. But one of the things that the court has really indicated is that they would like to hear from the community what the community's thoughts are on this. And so I'm so glad that you were able to kind of give them the judge's instructions on how to get in touch with the court, and then they'll also be hearing individuals will be able to allow to provide verbal testimony to the court. I also put a few copies of the sustainment plan over there in the back, and it's available on our website. We uploaded it all Friday afternoon, so if you go to NOLA.gov, go to the police department page, and then look for the consent decree tab, it's about 4 documents that you can in fact read yourself. Our filings and some other documents that the court issued in relationship to the filings. So what does the sustainable plan look like? Well, it basically set a number of benchmarks for the next 2 years, and not from the date of the file, but from the date that the court actually issues the order. If the court accepts our plan to demonstrate sustainment, it has a list of things that the police department has to do to show that we got it right. We're able to police ourselves, that we're able to provide the level of service that the community deserves. And there's a bunch of benchmarks in there with timelines, and there's various reports that will be filed publicly so that people can see what the progress or lack thereof is. And then it also, the system plan also kind of breaks down what happens if we don't get it right, what happens if there is any kind of deficiency located throughout the next 2 years or so. So that is, in a nutshell, what's in the sustainment plan. If you go to the attachments, which I know most of you have copies in front of you, it's almost like a very in-depth list of things we have to do. Each attachment is a new kind of part of the plan that has to be proven. And I think one of the key parts of that is that attachment A, which is the PCAB plan, if you will, is blank. And it says, you know, it will be filed within 15 days of the court order because we need feedback, right? So before we file a plan that's going to impact police and advisory boards, there needs to be some further discussions on what the resourcing of those boards will look like in the future, what the structure of those boards will look like, what neighborhood engagement office's role will be as we continue to move PCABs forward and make them a more impactful and robust part of the community police department. So, and with that, I guess I'll turn back to you.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Gervin. So, to clarify once again, is the NOPD and the city in compliance, full compliance with the consent decree?
So in our filings, in my opinion, this is the filings of the Department of Justice and the city filed jointly together. We believe we're either in compliance or have demonstrated enough reforms to start a sustained period to show that the compliance will exist.
So in the judge's consent package, it's very clear that there's a 45-day period where community meetings and a judge's hearing have to happen. Now, do you have a plan for that? Does the city have a plan for that? Because that's not a very long period.
No, it's not. And that is what the monitoring team is currently working on, setting up some of those. The DOJ has to do their own outreach. We're here today because, you know, this was filed on Friday. Here we are on Monday. And gave me the opportunity to come and talk to you guys. Certainly want to take advantage of that. There's also several email addresses in there that get feedback, and the election report itself will set up a fairness hearing.
So the two big areas that we are not in compliance with, because I have to be very honest, y'all. I forgot on some insurance you guys over a year ago because all I heard from the community and from even the police, from the federal law enforcement, that PCABs were ineffective. I've been hearing that for 11 years. I don't know why they've been ineffective, but I made a partnership to try to turn that around because the timing was happening. So to build a PCAB plan, I think the community absolutely must demand to be part of building that plan, which you're very good.
I would, and that's why we didn't file a plan until the meeting with the PCAB and the Instead, there is this whole feedback process that we set up the PCAB plan and incorporate that community.
Okay. I think what I'm saying to everyone here, some of y'all have been engaged in this whole process, and I really appreciate that. Some of you have been watching from afar, but this is the moment that we all need to step up and we need to let all of our constituents and all of our community know that this is happening. And I will take it on as our feedback as we did tonight to make room in this agenda for this very important scenario, because if we don't have the community involved in the creation of the community advisory board, that's not a good look, and I don't think it's good. Thank you.
That's why we didn't issue a plan without getting that community.
Okay. Well, and so I'm trying to go to you all to stay in touch with us so we can stay in touch with community to make sure, you know, when those meetings are happening, they're coming.
Right, and I would also suggest, don't wait for the meeting to happen. Start formulating your thoughts and putting them into those email addresses that John provided, so that they can be incorporated into that.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, thank you. Appreciate it. Now we have Cheryl Howard of the Office of Independent Police Monitor. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for being here. Y'all here just personally. I'm invited here tonight, basically to reiterate the statement that we put out on Friday when we got the little statement. The motion for 2000 to enter the state here. So, Margaret, again, to come out here and read this, but I have a couple of comments that I can give to anybody that wants one. It is also found on social media, and that is on Instagram at OICM, and on Facebook at URC. Again, the most important part of this too, I do want to reassure the community and everyone else that our office is here for the consent decree, and we're going to be after the consent decree. Our work is not changing. We're still in it to make sure that we uphold accountability, trust, and, you know, keep the community connected and all what we did actually do. So today's joint motion was filed in federal court. Sustained period for the consent decree by the parties of the consent decree. The Office of the Independent Police Monitor is not involved in this determination, nor is it within the role of the OIPM to participate in such determinations. However, the OIPM echoes the call of the community for an opportunity for the voice to be heard, considered and weighed in any final compliance determination made by Judge Morgan, and be incorporated into any subsequent sustainment plan that may be approved by the court. The motion is a request for support to approve the city's entry into the sustainment period in accordance with the attached sustainment plan. This motion reflects an agreement between the parties, the City of New Orleans and the Department of Justice, that the New Orleans Police Department has met the necessary legal requirements of the consent decree. This motion is based on audits conducted by NOPD Professional Standards and Accountability Bureau, PCAB, audit checks, and evaluations of the Office of the Consent Decree Monitor, and the hearing on the consent decree chapters heard by the court. If approved, a 2-year sustainment period will begin, guided by the sustainment plan agreed upon by the parties, the federal monitors, and the court. This strategy will focus on areas of the consent decree that still require attention, and it is the understanding of our office that the existing remedial action plans will remain in effect. It's essential to clarify that the sustainment period does not mean the end of the consent decree, rather it marks a transitional phase. Prior to the scrutiny, there will be an opportunity for the public to address the court. As notice for public hearings are announced, we will broadcast opportunities to the community to ensure that all who want to speak on the matter are heard. Subsequent, our independent police monitor stated, we share the community's concern that a determination of full and effective compliance should not occur until the community has an opportunity to directly address the court with their assessment of NOPD's compliance and performance. While OIPM understands any distrust regarding a transition or exit from active federal oversight, I recognize the legal reality of the consent decree process. It was never intended to be permanent. It is the position of the OIPM that any legacy built by the consent decree will outlive any legal document. The reforms put into place, the officers that embrace those reforms, and the community that champion the reforms are not going the work continues. So again, I want to point out that we're still here. We're still going to do what we're supposed to be doing. We're still going to be monitoring NOPD, doing everything that we're supposed to do. Just as the consent decree is moving into sustainment period, I do want to point out again, it's a sustainment period, which means it's not just going away in 45 days. But these 45 days are essential. As everyone up here before me has stated, there's email addresses, and there's ways to actually get your comments into the report. Also, If there are any public hearings that have been posted, in case you missed them, please follow us on social media. We can make sure we blast those in time that we can. We are radio, we are social media, anyway, to make sure that information is disseminated to you. Now, I do also want to point out, I know a lot of people have questions about how these comments are concerned, are coming from ways. I don't have an answer. So, I guess we'll actually just see, but I do still encourage everybody, don't let the moment be passionate about it. Don't let the 45 minutes go without making your voice heard. This is the time right now that you should be loud and vocal.
Thank you, Michelle. I really appreciate that. Right now, I asked the federal monitor, David Douglas, on Friday, if we had a statement, right, about this, because this is big news, it's a big change. He did not, but he did do one, and I received it just a little while ago. I'm gonna read it, it's not very long. Monitors public statement regarding the party's joint motion to begin sustainment period. On September 27th, the Department of Justice in the City of New Orleans filed a joint motion requesting that the Judge Morgan permit the city and the NOPD to enter the sustainment period of compliance. That motion was accompanied by a proposed sustainment plan, which addresses specific consent decree requirements that require additional effort to achieve compliance, additional time for the monitor to review, or both. That same day, the court filed a notice to the public that explained the process the court would follow. The notice provides that over the next 45 days, keep saying that 45 days, the monitor will hold a series of virtual and/or in-person meetings to hear community reactions. The notice also states the monitor will inform the court, so that may be part of how community comments are going to be passed on. The monitor will inform the court of all issues raised in the course of those meetings. Public feedback has been and will continue to be an important component of the court's and the monitor's evaluation of the state of the city's and NOPD's compliance. I'm going to skip a little bit. Okay, here's some new information. Consistent with our approach to engaging with the public and the court's notice, the monitor will hold a virtual public meeting on Tuesday, October 8th, 2024, 6 p.m. Central. Of course, that's community-wide, I know I can start. Yeah. Okay, all right, so I'm going to say it again. The federal monitor will hold a virtual public meeting on Tuesday, October 8th at 6 p.m. Central. Okay, if you guys have a pen, y'all can write down. Looks like his direct email. A. Burns, B-U-R-N-S. Oh, is that what I missed? Okay, I'm going to skip to that. That should be, okay, here we go. Members of the public who cannot or do not want to appear in person may submit questions and comments before October 25th, 2024. Does that sound a little less than 45 days to you, Michelle? Yes? I'm not sure. Yes. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Members of the public who cannot or do not want to appear in person may submit questions, comments before October 25th, 2024. Okay, I think what our purpose was here tonight is we saw that news on Friday. And we felt it was our duty and our obligation to the community when we saw it was time to get this information out. We have it on, no, but we are going to continue to work on it and make sure that we have the community informed. But it's up to y'all to engage, okay? So, hey, just 1 second. I think we covered everybody. You're next. We're going to have running a little bit behind. And is our attorney here? Oh, yes, he is. Okay. We're going to take 5 1-minute questions because we're about 10 minutes behind. Phyllis, do you want to come up?
Really quick, how is
Can't hear you.
how is the information going to be disseminated?
That's the big question that we have not seen the answer to. Do you have that information? The question was,
How will the information be disseminated?
how will the information be disseminated? We will find out. We'll find out. Okay, come on, step up. We got 1 minute, and we gotta move. Hey, Don. I'm good. How are you?
I would like to know if the oversight is going to contain any official reports that show us what the exact totals were with the amounts of cases submitted and cases where they were found to be some impropriety practices. Because there's contradictions right now, certainly, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but I want you to know that the IPM has told me that they found no reason for any impropriety on the police when the police themselves have already sent their letter and picked them up to the right for violating. So I'm questioning, now that they have this talk show, and I see a lot of promotion of the police. And I understand what all that is smoke and mirrors. I'm just putting you guys on the spot because you're elected officials, I'm sorry, but you work in this environment, you need to know what's going on. I have letters from the police saying that impropriety happened, but the IPM's official report was that they couldn't find any impropriety.
Thank you, Barb. Thank you for that. And I think that got the addressed. I think we have 1 or 2 other folks that wanted to be.
Well, wait, I would like an answer. Can we get a
Oh,
full audit?
who do you want the answer?
I've sent over 100 cases to the IPM
To the
in the
IPM.
last 5 years. Not one.
So who do you want to answer that?
Remember, we need to see the real-time data of the reported accounts, please, the reported accounts, and how many were accepted or issued, and what the demographics of those people were.
Okay.
Where they were.
Duly noted, Byron, and
Thank you.
hopefully by the end of the meeting, we will have somebody that can address that.
No, I want to address the whole public.
Yes, I
Audit,
but we can't do that
perfect
right now. You gotta be, you
Yeah.
gotta be focused, we're behind. Did anybody else want to make a comment on the statement, very quickly? Come on, Tony. Introduce yourself very quickly.
Hello, my name is Tony. I'm with the Walnut Community Hotel Police. My question is for Deputy Brandon. Why did we trust that the NOP and the DOJ is actually going to involve the public in these next 6 days before this hearing, when the court has barred the community out of the courtroom, not allowed us to have a community representative, when the city government that goes over NLP has denied the PCAB the opportunity to gain independence and have their own voice. And when you yourself have said, at the last specifically here in June, I was in the courtroom, you said that racism was a problem that was always going to exist and y'all were interested in solving, and that was under y'all's purview as the Department of Food, Bias, and Police. And I mention this because we have a jail where 90% of the population is in jail of black people. And they ended up there in NOPD has targeted black men over and over again to this day with violent discourse, with violent discourse against black men, for black women. You know, this is the statistics you find in the report, but you know, what basis we trust that y'all are going to give us, that we have a voice when our voice has been silenced this entire time?
Yes.
Thank you, Tony.
I've got charges on him that you're covering up. And you know that's the truth. When that white girl carjacked in the east and y'all gave her simple burglary, I got it on video. Watch what you say.
Okay, let's get about, no.
I'm saying here for it.
Yeah, so, Tony, thank you for that. That's a good concern. I'm not going to tell you that you should have to believe us. I'm going to tell you that our actions are going to demonstrate
and the courts actually demonstrate that there is a mechanism to being able to. So you'll see over the next 45 days. I'm here now, right? We announced this on Friday, and here I am on Monday, so I can start to hear some of the concerns.
For 1 minute, you can hear a minute of my concerns. Yeah, let's be real. So for 1 minute, you can hear. And Morgan, you are no authority in the Senate, baby.
No, we're just trying to have a.
Yeah, but how you gonna take part in this? We get 1 minute to discuss a lifetime of second
There'll
class
be more
citizens.
opportunities. This was just to get the information out. The community meeting for to be held by the UPD, the federal monitor, and the judge.
We need an audit. We need an audit. We want to know how many cases were filed, how many were acted upon. We need an audit. Really, all this money we done spent, let us see the work.
So, this is Miss Pamela Brown and Pamela Wood, I'm sorry, with Step Up Louisiana. And I want to thank her so much because Step Up Louisiana came through for us as a community resource partner. So let's give Miss Pamela a big round. I appreciate you. All right, let's move on. Ms. Attorney, we here? Hey guys. Hey. All right. Well, I'd like to just recognize some of the folks as they've been already. Hello. So, hey, did you have a question? Okay. So, I'd like to welcome and recognize Judge O'Meara, Mr. Louis Sharman, Kim Sharman. We appreciate you being on the court to make it for all you do. And we have a lot of great people here. So we're waiting on the district attorney. And Lee, did you have one more question? Okay, I thought you did. Come on up. Oh, yeah, one. I'm sorry, y'all. This is fun. Representative Alonso Nutt, man, thank you for all you do. We appreciate you coming. And I see my friend Jacques back there.
You got to kill time.
All right.
And speak to your friends.
Come
But
on.
we can't talk about the serious issues.
We're
That's
trying
what
to-
I just want to document that.
Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your
But
patience.
we can't talk about the real issues.
Go ahead, Ms. B.
I just want to say, clarify the question that you're taking. You're saying that the motion that's filed will say that y'all are taking steps in the right direction. Because I guess I want to know why y'all wait to prove it.
Yeah. That's what I'm asking for, the audit. That's what I'm asking for, baby.
Why is the person put away? It got in the sense that I prove your meetings. Why not wait till it can be fully proven before you say open the door?
Latoya sold us out. The city of New Orleans and the DOJ is who proposed
Thank you,
it.
Ms. B. And I'm gonna, you understand the question? Okay, thank you. Okay.
So we have to show that we can do this water for 2 years. Without the DOJ and the federal office kind of looking at me, if you will. So you can't do it by yourself if they're still there every step of the way. So we're asking the court to give us this 2-year sustained period so that we can demonstrate that we can do it without them not able to do it. It's like a thing on the tree.
What to deny us of our claim? It's like the insurance companies that work in that.
That they can do it without being agency.
Right.
I guess my point was, have we had something to say, stop babysitting people? Have we had enough numbers of improvement to say, I'm okay with you taking the training for long? We don't have enough sustainable evidence to say that y'all moved in the right direction. Don't ask me to take the training.
No, that's a good point.
They have no evidence, B. They have no evidence. That's what I'm asking for, an audit.
Okay.
So we haven't had consent decree hearings, we filed audits before, we think we're there, and we're asking the court to take a look at it, and think we're there to start this 2-year period.
And that's why community engagement is important. That's why your comments, your letters, your emails to the federal monitor, to the federal judge are extremely important.
But the audit numbers public.
The audit numbers are public.
Where?
On the same page that told you behind the same plan, you know what that goes, you go to the police station, it's like go to the tax question TV, and then you go to the consistent free tab, every one on that.
And do they give a disposition, Cap? Do they tell whether or not the NLPD was at fault or not?
Every give scores on every audit that we conduct, there are various scores on different agencies. So every audit is not like a yes or no, it's a bunch of different things that are measured.
And we will be able to decipher what that means in real time with the federal government's.
There are accounts.
Okay. All
And
right.
that was that.
Those are accounts, if you go to the police station, you have to sign up tax, one of them is consistent.
Okay, thank you. Sam, Charles, you have a question? Real quick.
2-year period that they have to write. What are the metrics that you can track it? And what also gives it a permanent 2-year community results from 37,000? Yeah, so go back to the program.
Let me get back to the questions, right? So the 2-year period, what are the metrics that are being tracked? And then also, can you go? The first part, what are the metrics being tracked? We're going to continue to do all of the audits that we've been doing over the last 2 years and publish these metrics. In addition to that, we're going to conduct additional audits on areas that are called corrective action plans. Things that we put in place that we have fixed some of the issues that we found over the years. But they haven't been fixed long enough to prove whether they're long-term fixed, right? Like, you can't fix something or put a plan in place and then 6 months later say it's fixed. So what we do in these audits we're doing now, we'll audit the fixes that we put in place over the last few months or so. Those are all listed out in the sustainable plan. And is it like 2 years and done? Absolutely not. There are parts of the sustainment plan, and it's called tolling and termination. And there's a tolling section in the sustainment plan that if the judge thinks that we're doing something wrong, or we're not giving it, or we're just not living up to our side of the bargain, she can toll or pause the sustainment plan basically. So that doesn't count for like 2 years. And if the court, so that's one mechanism. If the court feels like the NLPD is completely fallen out of compliance, she can terminate the sustainment plan and we'll just go back into the condition of having
The first district had 2 patrol officers today, total, Royce, but Fairgrounds had 2 police.
Thank you.
The whole first district had 2 patrol officers today. Do y'all know that?
Thank y'all so much, and we're glad that we're able to make space on the agenda to address this really important and vital information. And I want to thank Deputy Chief Garnet for coming out with such short notice, as well as OIPM. And we're going to move on, and right now we're going to welcome our district attorney, Jason Williams.
Justice for Corey Garrison. Justice for Corey Garrison. 5 shots in the back, DA. You said no man gets shot in the back in New Orleans without a trial. Corey Garrison, all 5 bullets in the back, Jason. Corey Garrison, all 5 bullets in the back, Jason. Please open that case for me. Or at least look at it and see. All 5 bullets in the back, I promise.
So right now we're going to move on. I want to introduce obviously District Attorney Jason Williams, and we have Sergeant Dave Barnes from the NLPD. And tell us what you do for the NLPD. Sergeant.
Excuse me. I'm in charge of legal research and planning for the North Department.
There we go. Clear that. So I'm in charge of legal research and planning for the North Department. It encompasses all of our legal infrastructure on legislative updates, the city council, doing all of our policies.
Okay. So Jason, did you want to have a few minutes? I know you want to give out the things you wanted to say, right?
Yeah, but I also want to listen to what you have, or at least answer questions that might be out there.
Okay.
There have been a number of, I would describe as untraditional things that have occurred in the city of New Orleans that I think it could be really exciting. First and foremost, we have been getting outside the building, outside of the courthouse, so it's a call and comment. We can hire more police, send more police into a neighborhood, but if you talk to the police, they'll tell you they can call sometimes in the same place because of the same thing is fostering crime. And so what we're trying to do is look at those root causes. Some situations it might be lighting, it might be a park that's been laying with the program for years, which means the kids aren't using it, the people who are causing harm are using it. It might be blighted houses that people are using to hide guns or drugs. It might be.
Could it be abject poverty, Jay?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
But when it comes to abject poverty, as you know very well, Barbara, is lack of investment, lack of attention to detail, lack of upkeep, lack of maintenance, and all those things feed into those. I've got Daniel Shakes. He's right here. He runs our, it's called No Dice. He runs our No Dice program. He worked in Baltimore, former police chief Harrison. He's working with the DA's office on that thing. And it is really focused on looking at those root causes, not just cat and mouse, who has done the one thing. There was one corner store where drugs were being sold, or illegal drugs were being sold, close to an apartment, with a number of young people who were not using that side of the street because of everything that was happening in that place. Folks who were going to the yoga studio across the way didn't want to park in this area because of it. And we were able to address that problematic corner store. But it was because Daniel was working not just with law enforcement, but listening to the community, walking the streets before any action was taken, working with our legislative delegation, walk that area up and down, including the area where the car shop was, really pinpointing why homelessness was up in this particular, back to what Mr. Gold was talking about. Abject poverty, lack of investment for a number of years. This No Dice program is really reversing what government and elected officials have done for a long time. And instead of asking you all to listen to us, it's us listening to the community and trying to respond to that. So that's what I think of what we're doing.
Thank you so much, Jason, and I think that's an important program. Right now, we're going to move into a discussion about the police community advisory boards. There is one in every police district, and one of the tasks that we are charged with is hearing from the community and distilling that concerns and community responses, distilling that down to recommendations around policy. We're also charged with asking questions that the community has expressed during our meetings. So we submitted a 7-page document to the intermeeting a couple of months ago as our first set of recommendations. So we're going to go through some of these. We're not going to be able to go through all of them.
Wait, before you say that, wait, hold on 1 second, please. When you say we, you're talking about a group of people, right?
Police Community Advisory Board.
Who is that in our neighborhood?
That's myself, and we have 5 other board members.
Who are they?
Well, I can give you a list at the end of the night.
Well, why can't the community know? Wait, baby. Why can't the community know the 6 people? Wait a minute. Why can't the community know the 6 people who are speaking for us? Since y'all ain't never called us.
Well, you know what?
So we want to know who those 6 people are.
Byron, let me tell you this. That is a great point, actually.
Who are they?
Because let me just say this to you. The way that these boards have been put together.
Well, the first district will tell you I'm in the street fighting crime every day. Y'all ain't never called me.
Yes, who recruits.
So who are they? The 6?
Let me just say this. This is important. Listen. The entity that recruits, trains, and assigns board members is the mayor's office of neighborhood.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The mayor. That's why we're not. That's why the real people who know about the crime judge. That's why we're not getting insulted.
Thank you, Ron.
Yeah,
Okay,
everybody's
so
watching.
the first question, and this goes to the effectiveness of police community advisory board. And I've asked the sergeant to see if he can come up with an answer. In the last 11 years that PCABs have been around, created under the consent decree, how many PCAB recommendations of all PCABs from the formation of PCABs have actually resulted in an NOPD response and NOPD action?
So, this is, I mean, that's the most easy thing, because it hasn't been tracked, right? So, 100%. We've done tracks, across the department, put out those topics, as handling from
Mayor's office is recommendation.
they receive the recommendation. We don't see all the recommendations. Sometimes we get recommendations from the districts as they tend together, from the straight together. We don't have a way to differentiate where we got our recommendations from without their own track. So we explored and everyone is sort of agreed that that's something that we're going to look at doing. That's really so going back historically, 11 years, we don't have no track.
Well, and thank you, Sergeant Barnes, because this highlights one of the main reasons why PCABs aren't working, because, and why we're told by everybody they're ineffective. So I think what's important, because again, we're all volunteer, we're not funded, we're not supported, and we, volunteers give up their time, they want to see results. All of you tonight here are here because you want to see results. And we're here because we want to see results. We're trying to build a relationship between community and police. So right now in this period that we talked about earlier, it's super important the community weigh in on police community advisory boards because they have to be effective, they have to be empowered. We also have to be able to track the work that we're doing so that the actual outcome is sustainable. Would you agree, Sergeant Brooks?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, our next question, and part of the reason we asked you to be here tonight, Jason, is because it's one thing, like I said, we work all year on breaking down the new crime laws and what they mean for our city. People are very concerned because a lot of it is aggressive, and it, of course, doesn't work in New Orleans, it doesn't work anywhere. But it's one thing to hear from the police, and we're going to hear from them as far as what their response is out on the street and the policy. But the other half of that is what your office does, and how do you prosecute some of these things, okay? And whether you come up with policies and positions on that. So this first question, it may or may not be for you, being. In the OIPM 2023 report included troubling statistics showing increased use of force incidents by the NOPD involving Black women, 57% increase, and men, 10% increase. This information was of particular concern to the community present and multiple community members. So we'd like to know if the police department and the city are planning on moving to a sustainable period. Are they in compliance with use of force policies? You don't want to yell.
So, there's several areas that she's trying to talk about the as part of that. On use of force, if you go back to the website that you mentioned, use of force has been audited thoroughly for the last 10 years in this department. And we work closely with the IBM's office because they also go back every year and give former people work on this. Just so the used to work with IBM's office. And worked on these exact reports for this 10 years ago. We go back and audit, get data. They'll look behind on all of our data so that we can try and take action on this. We have differences in the way we report certain numbers. specifically on statistical information regarding use of force. If you look at it, one incident, whether there were 3 people involved, that might be counted as 3 uses of force, but it was 1 incident of 3 people. And so the numbers vary depending upon what you're looking at, and they're all explained in our report on how to reach those numbers. Again, all of that information is out on the website. It's all on it, it's all the data is there. You can look at our reports, you can look at our training reports on our website. There's nothing about it. You look at the training every year, you see how we need to address and change our product things. And if we need to address it, we need to.
Thank you, Sergeant Rose, and I think that's very important to mention training, because that is one of the areas where we have a lot of concern, and I met with Chief Johnson, one of the training chiefs for our new recruits and for our long-term officers. And I think that years ago, after Katrina, there was a big moment, when college came back, and there were a lot of problems, and the chief at the time wanted to raise the fees for social aid pleasure huts to parade astronomically. And we sat at a table with him, and he said, "Do your officers understand what this culture is about?" And they could literally say, "No." So in those 19 years, they have effectively put in training that has increased the level of sensitivity and knowledge of our culture. So we are hoping that training in the police force, especially new recruits, will give a sustained new direction, new state of mind, new culture. Jason, did you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, a lot of times we focus on the consent decree and rightfully so. One thing that is important to remember, in most places, there's not a lot of voluntary, there's not a lot of willingness for people in uniforms to embrace or to have any part of change or any measurement at all. We do have that in place here in the city. Everyone kind of brought it up in some way moving on because it's such a long period. But the one thing that is present in the city of New Orleans is regardless of what sort of uniform it is, whether it happens in jail, someone in a green uniform, a darker uniform, or a lighter uniform, if there is use of force against a private citizen, the DA's office takes it seriously. In that case, it's going to be screened as a crime. Because nobody did this, no one is involved in the law, and that is a stopgap that we always have.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to ask KC Roberson, Fairgrounds Triangle Neighborhood Association. I just wanted to ask, as it relates to cameras on the police officers' uniforms, as a tool, has it been helpful in prosecuting officers who have done these uses of forces, abuse of force, and how likely is it when we have evidence by videography from the officers on cameras that show that they've not been on the up and up with citizens, whereas they're just, by some officers' accounts, just documenting their ways themselves off of the crimes that they've committed against citizens.
One second, y'all. We have some comment cards. We want to hold our questions till the end if you don't mind. Go ahead, Jason, answer that.
Let me just jump in and say, a body camera or a dashboard cam is really solid evidence. Either way, right? If an officer has stepped out beyond what the law allows him or her to do, then it's recorded. And someone says an officer did something or said something they didn't do, that's also recorded. Oftentimes, the most important item in everyone is not even the officer who's engaging with the private citizen, or that it might be an officer who's looking away. And so we can get all of the body work everywhere. And I will tell you that jurors they're expecting to see it. In the city of New Orleans, they know that it's required, and in cases where they're trying to figure out this reason without, that body camera is as solid as they can.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna move on. You wanna take that one step forward? Okay, Sergeant Barnes, Casey, Pastor, we're gonna have a
From the
little.
prosecutorial standpoint, it's fantastic. In a little bit of my life, I have to say, since 2016, I've investigated essentially a potential civil rights violation of major use of force. As the investigative team, the body camera is phenomenal. And I'm personally arrested and sued the prosecution for guilty verdicts of 3 officers. And the side effect of that is the fact that they have someone can look at it and tell them. So, from an investigative standpoint, I can tell you, we don't want to go where we want it because it lets us know who the bad actors are in our department. So we can address it.
Thank you, Sergeant Barnes. Does that answer your question, Pastor? Thank you. Okay, we're gonna move on to some of these specific laws. This one is particularly concerning for New Orleans because so much of our lives and our culture is spent out on the street. And so, unfortunately, I don't have the bill number in front of me, but a lot of us call it the mow down law. And this is when a motorist is in fear of their life on the street, with crowds on the street, and we need some real clarification here. They have civil immunity to mow down the pedestrians and the people on the street. So our questions to NOPD were this: what specific training policies and procedures have been developed and executed by the NOPD in response to this new state law? How will NOPD determine liability or proof the motorist was in fear for their life? Given the combination of this B, are you still here? Ms. B asked this question in the last meeting. Given the combination of criminalist concealed carry and this law, how will NOPD handle a situation where a motorist plows through the crowd and individuals in the crowd fearing for their lives and or protecting their families fire a weapon at the motorist? So that's also the DA's, the prosecutorial side of this is going to really come into play here. What considerations are made for New Orleans culture, street possessions, congregations, social and pleasure parades, black mass and Indian processions, as well as larger events such as Mardi Gras Festival and other events where many people, locals and visitors, are in the streets? And how can NOPD, through their resources, give clarity on the civil versus criminal aspects of this law? I know that's a lot, but I think you guys get it.
All right, so yes, there's a lot of things. The first thing I want to point is that this is a law community. It talks about civil liability and provides certain affirmative defenses basically for civil suits. NOPD does not handle civil anything, right? You deal with criminal law. If it's civil, we refer over to some other jurisdiction. But also, the only thing that changed in criminal law is about firearms. And that's specifically under 1495 that allows any individual who's 18 years of age or older and meets the certain requirements in the statute. There's a lot of requirements in the statute to carry a PC. However, one of the requirements that's in the statute would not allow someone to carry a concealed weapon at a public parade or demonstration. So then you bring in the other aspect of if someone is carrying a concealed weapon at a public parade or demonstration, they're already in violation law as well. Whereas someone who's piling down people with a vehicle may also be in violation law. Now, the criminal laws on that have not changed, right? There's a justification statute, specifically in Title 14, that allow for certain parameters to be met, and you cannot claim self-defense if you are being arrested. So our job as a community, our training hasn't changed. We have to come to anything like that and treat it as if we're outside and investigate to find out who the aggressor was and who's at fault and was the other person acting in self-defense and were they actually able to claim self-defense? Because there's very specific parameters based on what the totality of circumstances all of the factors that we look at of surrounding evidence, right? Well, we trained them and have that for years into our investigators, and this year we actually updated and take a step further and started doing this thing called Target 5, where we want all of our officers, anytime they conduct a stop, anytime they make an arrest, they point to as many factors as possible that support either reasonable suspicion or probable cause to legally justify their action. And we like to see a minimum of 5 factors. Now, you're not always going to have a minimum of 5 factors in every scenario, but that's what we like to target. So at least 5 factors they can point to reach that conclusion. As far as my users of order, explanation. I got this. I'm going to be really candid with this group. I know that the Constitution says that you have a right to bear arms. The language is left out by a certain demographic. But this idea of adding more guns to the city streets, people's anxiety levels coming out of COVID are about 100 out of 10. We're talking about regular normal folks, like people in your family. Everybody's stressed out, right? And so in the world that you get, there's no place like us. The way we congregate, the way we shop, the way we treat each other. And so you think about how much we congregate in hard times. The idea that anybody, adding more guns to that point would make sense it's a fallacy. I'm proud to have requests that have long been through the Capitol a few weeks ago. I don't know places to visit. And I take that opportunity that house and going to a place that really seems performance. Sometimes it's better, although they take every dollar we make and earn and stick it around. But I do believe that the idea that everybody who has a gun is problematic. It's going to lead to some horrible consequences. And I tell everyone that I know that says, well, I'm going to I say, well, look, if you find yourself in a situation and you pull that trigger, that is a fatal, could be a fatal, permanent decision that could change a person's life. So, just because the laws have changed and make it easier to get guns, you should encourage the people who know not to take advantage of that opportunity. As Senator DePlessis tried to explain to one of his colleagues, all of the Constitution matters, not just this part of the right to bear arms. All of the Constitution matters. And people who always want to make sure that we remember that we stay true.
Okay, so just to clarify, once again, the motorist who decides they're in fear for their life when they see crowds on the street in New Orleans, they have civil immunity? Is that correct?
That's a different office for me.
Okay.
Because if someone uses their car as a dangerous weapon and they hurt someone, I've got to as a crime. And I'm not going to, they might go to civil lawsuit, they might go to civil lawsuit. But freedom is much more important than that.
Okay. And so, again, to clarify, Sergeant Buttons, the policy around this new law, how are the officers being trained right now? And are there any new policies on how to deal with this when it happens in the street?
So, no, the criminal law hasn't changed, right? It's liability.
He gave a great response to the first question. This was a simple law.
Thank you. Okay.
Neither one of these gentlemen in their capacity, their role is not changing at all as it relates to that horrible bill that you're referring to. Rather, not the fight against it on the House side. We did what we could on the Senate side. I called it, this is what I refer to it as standing ground on steroids. Because what it's trying to do, in my opinion, is send a message to people that Go ahead, if you feel unsafe or if you feel uncomfortable, just go ahead and drive through a crowd because you're gonna have an added layer of protection. But criminal standard still applies. So they can still be criminally liable as they would before the law was passed. So it changed nothing with respect to what they do or the DA's office. It was purely just an added layer of civil immunity to make it harder for any one of us. We're standing in the crowd or our second line of parade. It will make it harder for one of us to file a civil lawsuit against someone if we were injured or harmed or someone who was in the crowd. That's all it is. It's a horrible.
Thank you so much, Senator Vice. And I do appreciate all the work that you and your colleagues, Representative Nunn, did, because that was really good stuff. And I think what we kept hearing from the community was a misunderstanding that the police and the DA somehow didn't have to prosecute that, right? And so we're starting to clear that up, and that's really, really important. This week, you understand? Okay, because you asked that in the last meeting, so I want to make sure we cover that. All right, our next question, thank you, Jason, and thank you, Sergeant Vaughn. Okay, our next question is around, oh, I'm so sorry. One second, you guys. Okay, so we sort of touched on it, but if you can touch on it again. Well, no, actually, this was a big one last meeting. The 25-foot rule. So, this new state law seems to say that if any citizen crosses a 25-foot perimeter of a crime scene, they can be arrested. Is that correct, Sergeant Burns?
No, it's not exactly. There's a couple of things in realistically, this law is another country. Right? We took the reasons of the past, and we have it now. There's parameters that come with it that we put into our policy. And we're currently finalizing with DOJ to make sure our officers are right. But they're also codified in the law itself. An officer can't just arrest you if you come within 25 feet. Right? They have to give you and it can't be like an actual thing that's based on just the fact that you're observing or reporting or something like that. They have to actually be causing some sort of interference with the investigation or something else, which there are already on the books that are more appropriate under those circumstances. And realistically, I think as a legal instructor, as a policy writer, I think the biggest issue with this law is chief. How far away am I? You have no idea, right? How's that enforced? And realistically, it's not going to wrong.
You need to actually train officers. There's only 2 national lawyers here of legal characters and have watched the officers do speak to the homeless areas and have had the officers to say, oh wait, no, but invoke the 25-foot rule, get back on the thing. And in fact, these legal characters with a vest. So everything what you say, that's how the officers are doing right now in the streets.
Well, and again, the law and the policy would require them to give a warning before they take type of enforcement action, right? So realistically, if they were going to say that, they need to send that, right? They are required by law to give that warning. And if you see or this goes across the board for everyone, right? If you see or hear about any issues with our officers, we've got multiple ways through our website. You can call us, you can email policy and plan. We'll put it right in the policy. We take suggestions left and right. Any of y'all noticed when we updated and put out your drone policy. We took public feedback nonstop. I personally filtered over 400 emails basically.
Okay, Sergeant, and I appreciate that. We're going to have SDA to, yeah. But let me just clarify something. When we're talking about policy, we're talking about PCAB, we're talking about community. Part of what we're doing right now is recommending that you create a policy for this. So that's what we're hoping to see, not just a discussion. We want to see real policy in that.
And that's what, when I started to answer the question, we actually updated the policy for it. And then I literally went back and forth with DOJ today, to get that policy through. One of the things that is part and parcel of the consent decree is policy review and review. So if we get community feedback, and this is one of my issues with the policy, right? If I see something that needs to happen and make a change overnight, there's so many things that we have to put in motion. Because once I get the feedback from y'all tonight, and I go change the policy, then it starts a month-long process where it goes back and forth to Washington, and about 14 different lawyers that all have to look at it and weigh in, and we have to go back and forth on simple things like wording or where a comment goes to policy before I can get approved and put out. And sometimes that's necessary. Sometimes it just delays a much needed change, right? And so that's part of this process, and we try to, under Chief Gurney, we've actually gotten that more and more streamlined now. One of the things that we put in, if you go to our policy site, which is on the same note I was on the site, there's a section with the tab for policies. All of our policies are posted public. And we review them every month. We'll review a certain number of them every month. And that goes to the schedule of when we review one. It's also posted on there with an email address for you to send us public feedback on everything as we do. So we don't want to have to rely on coming to the community that's only to get this feedback. We want feedback from the community all the time. And that's certainly a resource that I think the PCABs are essentially putting that information out there. The other thing I want us to take this input from the community.
How are you soliciting them today? Wait, hold on, let the DM respond.
I just want to sort of 25, but I guess what is a little bit more clarity than that. There are a number of representatives who never walked in the community, never been in the first world, making laws for the city and no impacts. Anything, that all only made it harder to do this with. Because reason now, certainly going to be no jury in Orleans Parish is ever going to convict someone unless they had something that was relevant to a tape measure defining the laws of the books that were already there to interfere with this investigation. Or if you have a crime scene tape that's opportunities and walking through, stepping on a casing, kicking something from where it was, there's a drawing. Every single thing of the crime scene, so the jury can say, all right, the cases were all right here, this person is, there's blood splatter here, there's no blood splatter. All of that matters, so it can't be tampered with. The law of warriors of books. The goal of these authors and that who wrote this is having chilling impact on activism, on people making sure that someone is not being abused. And it's trademark, right? It's not to help the people, it's not to help the public. It really is so seeds of this intent.
And not that okay, my question was about the 25 group, because we're also not talking about the consent decree. So now my question is, how do we publicly monitor our officers with this? So if I'm a public, this is in a public place and I see the police interacting with someone, but I try to effectively make sure it's okay. But now I'm good with a law enforcement that keeps me at a distance where I get misinformation, I think it's certain things. So is it like, is it basically saying interfering with their job, the way I pray? So how is recording or sending news interfering with the actual duty that they're doing at that point?
So reporting is not at all. And reporting is actually a constitutional right. You can observe police officers in the public all the time, right? We had a policy on that specifically saying you're allowed to, and then we wrote it into the new policy. If you go to our website, the policy is talking about specifically, I think the recording of police officers, chapter 1.2.10. I think that's the right number. Don't quote me, it's around 1.9 is what's on the rest of the current government, right? And so as soon as that is approved, it'll be up there. It has 2 paragraphs that are specific to that. And it also can give you a warning specifically with this law, based on the fact that you are reporting, observing, or even just like charging, right? If you're just verbally complaining, we prohibit our laws from taking enforcement action from someone exercising their constitutional right to free speech, right? So the law really needs to apply when someone either starts making private threats, right? These are threats that would be reasonable that we think they would be able to actually carry out. Or start getting close enough that I can say do whatever I'm doing without having to deal with that person. Right? And that's really what it's intended to. For some reason, I don't know where the 25-foot came, because that's going to vary situation to situation how close someone can come. Right? There's no bright line rule for that.
Thank you, Sergeant Martin. I think part of the concern that we've been hearing over and over is, will the officer on the street at the scene, in his own discretion, move that perimeter at will to possibly trap somebody? But I think you guys, I mean, those are real concerns of people on the street. I mean, they're concerned about it because if they're out there, whether they're filming or their loved one is involved or it's their neighbor or whatever, you know, there is a lot of concern that the police may or may not utilize that to really trap somebody. Yeah. Roy wants to add something real quick.
And I just feel like I need to, in response to your question, because these are the questions we raise. The very question you're asking, the questions we raise that will be debated. The law has been challenged in federal court. We don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully, it gets struck down as being unconstitutional. But again, these are all questions when you ask as a citizen, you know, are you 26 feet, are you 24 feet? And the debate that has to happen in that time, you're told that it has nothing to do with interfering with investigations. We already have all of what's really to, as a DA saying, hopefully it gets addressed in the courts.
I think, how about we do this? Hold those two. Did you have something else you wanted to say on this? Okay, I'm going to ask. Wait, I'm sorry, what? Yeah, do that first, and then we have Dylan, and then we have Chris.
So the other problem I have with this 25-foot in we have to understand every situation is different, right? And so sure, everyone was really at some point in their life listening to people like, right? They don't stay in one place. And so if that situation is even, then of course that perimeter would improve that situation. But again, that's why it's so important. It's not like if the DA and I would start fighting right here, and I'm telling you to say 25 feet back, and then we fall closer to the guy who's that 25 feet. That's not your fault, right? So again, that's one of those where yes, they will look at the one situation, but again, that would be an unenforceable sort of move. You have to still stop what you're doing and get those extra commandments and everything else. I can't move and try and that's another thing. Body cameras are fantastic that come into play because they'll show it to a jury when he goes to try and prosecute that if it does. It wasn't your fault. The officers moved to you, and that's what puts you in that 25 feet. And that's a fucking mistake, right? And I'm not going to be a violation. So.
Thank you, Sergeant. Phyllis.
Take feedback from people. So one thing, in general, in the city, I feel like communication is in horrible condition. So I hear about a meeting 5 hours, 2 hours before it starts, or whatever. So with that, concern in mind, how are you communicating with people, and how do you want to communicate with people?
So there are realistically 2024 social media is just get some communication. There's a whole generation of 90% of their news from social media. Chriselle, she's still here. She's still here. There she is. She talked about earlier. They do a fantastic job of posting about different meetings throughout our time. PIO generally posts about meetings over and over. Now, the problem with social media as well is if you post like 10 times in a day, that one post is going to get lost in the mix. You may or may not see it, right? The algorithm's changing constantly. So one of the things we do is we have an page, which is on our site, and we post information there. And it's more of a website, right? It's not like a social media thing, and it'll show up on the meetings. Other than that, we solicit input all the time, email, through our website, like coming to meetings like this. And I can say, I'd say this communication is better in this day and age because you would think that with everything that we had changed before, you could really communicate elsewhere and not stop. But realistically,
Just listening today, I think a lot of people come from these types of meetings because when you deal with more credit, right? You just get into a storm, right? You know where it's going, you follow back on, right? So if you sign up for certain alerts, why can't we set up for you to sign up for these alerts? So you know there'll be an opportunity a week from Saturday where you can go and work as a website, where you can put a report on it, you can put it on anything. I think that's a very good idea. It's something we can wait.
Not only that, you just add that this, the community is disconnected. That's why we have programs for people to get free internet and all of that kind of stuff. So while I live on social media, like I publish a lot of information on social media, I get none of this. I'm actually engaged in ways that I know other people aren't. I could be more engaged. I just don't have the capacity of full-time job looking on NLPD, the resilience website, and all of that. So I do think that there is a substantial opportunity for the city as a whole, and you to be a part of that, find a way to communicate with people. People need mailers, people need to mail out accomplishments of this and that and the other. Like, we should be able to be getting other ways to communicate.
I think that's a great point, Phyllis, and that's why we're doing what we do. But I do think, and I know, that all of our city agencies, particularly our criminal justice system, as we can see, there's a lot of questions, and you're right. Does every citizen have the opportunity to spend, hours coming through dense language about, resilience and compliance and policy? And so I really would appreciate it to see more communication from Jason, from your office. And your office was great in having you come out to this meeting. We really appreciate it. And Sergeant, you have been just incredible in terms of your wanting to come and share. So let's see more of that. Thank you. That's important. Okay, listen, right now we have one more, and then we're going to go into public comment. Okay, and this last one is the hard one. Permit listing sealed carry. And that has been an extreme concern of our community and what that means by lowering the age of permit listing sealed carry to 18. The permit before gave a certain layer to bring the temperature down and a stop for both the citizen and the law enforcement officer, because it was a protocol. When you got the permit, you had to get training. So my understanding is that permit, by removing the permit, you remove the training. And that is a huge concern. As we're moving into a major season, a tourist season, but also a season where a lot of our people, this is the moment you have to make money to get some income after years of travel, right? And they need to be safe too. So in areas where people are going to work, where we know in tourist areas there's a lot going on, so there's also a lot going on in the neighborhood. Can you address the policies and procedures that you guys have put in place? Both of you?
So in terms of the law, I just want to say that without being all bad, wrong-headed, going the wrong direction, the idea that we can work together to reduce crime more so, all categories, more so than any other city in this country. People around the country are asking how we did it. In the middle of that process, they have states saying, you know what, let's reduce the age, let's get more immature people, and let's let them have guns, and let's not train people, and let's encourage more people to have guns. At a place where there is a crowd, festival, or a concert that is open air with no metal detector, let's just add some more guns. That's a terrible scenario. I haven't met the person yet who can shoot well in a crowd, in a running crowd, even if you're a marksman, even if you're on the side of the right, even if you know who your intended target is, there's no way you're going to get a clean shot on Bourbon Street or Gentilly or Oak Street. And so I think we have to keep educating and making it really clear that you don't need to bring a gun on or you don't need, and there are laws on the books about that. But again, I believe that there's certain people in the city house who wanted to be a little bit confused, who wanted to be a little bit gray, because they want people to mess up, fall through the cracks, get caught in the system, so the system can put more people in jail, right? And there's going to be a lot of folks who are going to have a gun, make a bad decision, make a mistake, and it's going to change their lives forever. So I think we have to be hyper diligent about that. Barnes and I have been working with former chief Sean Woodward, working with the new chief, working with anybody who will listen, trying to set up a school in the prison so that if you can't carry it, we got some pushback from the state. We're still trying to work out what we do that to make that happen. And we're looking at other areas of the city where we can encourage and say, I really do believe that fewer guns will benefit public safety dividends that we've already made. I think adding more guns to the mix only is sitting us involved with it.
I want to piggyback on something Jason said. There's a lot of messaging behind this law, and that if you are 18 years of age and you have a gun, you can carry concealed. And realistically, there's a whole section of the law that they added in now that we haven't seen them in here. They didn't cover it. It's not out there. And I've worked with Jason's office for the last 5-6 months on not only the school, but on training. And so we put together a training class for not just MD officers, but for any officers that use 1 and 10. So we've been training pretty much all of the agencies that operate in this parish. And most of the decision makers, including our dispatchers, on what the updates to the law, because what they didn't tell everybody was, you had a permit, you got training. The training taught you certain things that you had to do if you carry concealment. Well, under the new statute, what they added in was requirements that would have traditionally only applied to public holders, that now apply to anyone who is carrying concealment, which we, in our training, teach our officers and agencies to recognize that if someone's carrying a gun public, they may not know that they have these requirements, so you kind of have to be an instructor yourself anytime you're dealing with the public, which is really shouldn't know in the first place. It's their actions, right? And why we do what we do, because a lot of people don't go through the training or have the experience. And it's important for officers to start explaining to the people that they interact with, right?
I'm sorry, so you have that training going on?
I do, you have that training every Monday, Thursday, right before the law goes into effect, we went out every day for 2 classes a day for 2 weeks straight, basically. So we're getting our entire department, especially for the past. And it's just, complete coincidence that July 4th was when the law went into effect, the day before Access Fest started. Right? So, imagine the freedoms that making that come out on July 4th. So, but
talks about the new stuff is also applied to anyone getting without a permit. Because they put requirements where they have to notify the officer that they're carrying. If a person is approached in any official capacity, they're required by the law to let the officer look at it, submit to a pen out, allow the officer to spread it themselves. And they're supposed to do this in a responsible manner. They're also not allowed to drink, right? You have to have a lower blood alcohol level. The blood alcohol level for DUI is 0.08. It's half that if you carry a firearm. You're not allowed to carry a firearm without with a VAC level of 0.05 right, which one shot will get you. So if somebody's walking down Burger Street with a hand grenade and they've got a gun, they're in violation, right? And so, or if they're walking down the street with a hand grenade and they've got a gun, if they're walking down the street with, I don't know, a joint and they've got a gun, they're in violation. Because you can't be under the influence of anything and carry a concealed firearm, whether it's legal or not. So if I were to have a surgery tomorrow and get prescribed Percocet, I wouldn't be able to carry my gun concealed while I'm taking the Percocet. And these are all rules that are under the new law that just have not communicated out to people. So we've been trying to educate the public on that. Some of the owners, some of our Instagram posts, maybe around July 4th, that I think we need to re up some of that messaging and get some of that, those PSAs out there.
And thank you, Sergeant, because one of our recommendations was actually to work in a collaborative manner with the NPD and the DA's office and the community to create a Know Your Rights public service campaign as we go into these next few months, because people do need to know. And the people that came out here tonight, they're already invested, they're already interested, they want to know. But there's a lot of folks out on our streets who are going back and forth to work. They don't have, they're unsure. So I'm hoping we can all work together to make that happen.
Think about the young people. Think about the young people who get information from their best friend. Like, okay, you have nothing. You got really? Well, where did you get from? I got it. I mean, that's how things happen at that age, right? And next thing you know, they got young walking down the street, and it's a student, right? Who just don't understand it because these laws are not clear. Because anytime you try to change the same laws at once, there's going to be a lot of and maybe
That's a great point. So maybe it goes a little further even to create this public service campaign in collaboration to go into the schools with it. Because our young people really are, they need to be informed and they need to understand how they have to protect themselves as well. So when we're about to go to our public comment, did you have anything else you wanted to wrap up? Okay. Okay, Charles, thank you for that. Come on. Come on up. All right, now everyone, introduce yourself, please.
Charles, I was small business in New Orleans, right? A couple things. One thing if you're trying with you guys, I think the formal application, you're going to do very well. But the informal is just important, right? Like I've taught for 7 years, I never took college as a kid to join the force. Military showed up, Army showed up, school showed up, football showed up. I don't think you never took one for 3 kids to join. You got to hire a team, kids don't know that. Right? But kids know Mario, kids know all the haters, they know all these influences, right? Utilize them. Utilize them, right? The culture here is powerful in a way that most cities are not. Culture, you're probably not. Because no one hears you. You hear sex crime, you hear all that stuff, right? You guys need to tap into culture. That's where kids hear from. That 16-year-old kid knows the army. He doesn't know the industry kind of occasion. I get a job. I need a path in a career for 21. You don't know that. So how do you evolve that right? So by the artist saying, how am I creative, right? And getting to the it in a creative way. Because the viewership is there, right? The artist is going to do like a million before, have a million followers. More than LPs. More than the name. Like look at this one. They have followers who listen, who come to content, who have content. Collaborate. Because that's what this is out. Like this meeting is great. I'm a young person here.
right? The kids are online. The kids don't know, right? It's like you mentioned creative fear, right? Oh my God, like if we're you can have guns, you let it, of course. You can't carry a gun when people gathering, or you can just stay lost, have to change. But the ignorance of creating frustration creates a lot of problems, right? And I think part of your mission is to think, how do I connect to the community eventually and reach out to the community is, right? And second of all, I think as we look at the new phase of post-secondary, also explain the benefits and why that person, right? Like, what are the benefits? How does that help around? How does it bring in officers, right? I think those pieces are important because otherwise, people are going to talk for you, right? You got to get out from the board and use the cultivator. But they're there. And they're people like, as a teacher, I took art for 7 years. It was hard. Once the art coach like me, the art coach about me, that's was chill, right? You have to use the culture because otherwise,
Thank you, Charles. Did y'all have a response to that?
I completely agree. Right. I completely agree.
Okay. 1 second. Okay, Ms. Woodford, Chief Woodford.
Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, I think they can't be on at the same time right now.
Last year, we really had to get our kids engaged and involved. We had summer basketball, right? We did that. That was wonderful. We wanted to feed, instead of feeding my young people into like crime, prison, and stuff, we wanted to feed them into something else. And so we said, hey, let's go way back, restart the death program, right? And so right before I left, before I retired, it started. It had the first death program. So NOPD, they are the two tribes to reach out to the community, and we even started citizens, junior citizens academy, where they get excited for going to the citizens academy. So I think they are doing this. It's really hard. You have to be very creative when it comes to young people. Because it's not the young people that are, but we do young, right? They're social media. They're all those things, all that extra information that we didn't have. What do we do? We go outside, ride a bike, play basketball, whatever. They're on social media, they're playing video games. So they're, of course, a little different. So it's real hard to reach them on that way. And then the thing about the openness and the lines of communication. Sometimes I think now the DA's office, NOPD, even the sheriff's department, they have those open, even on the house, have those open space dashboards. They trying to be transparent and to the public, they put a bunch of information on websites. Like you said, I know everybody's not looking into the internet and stuff like that. I think we're learning, we have learned, we heard with this to the community, because the community is always the number one ally. And so I did listen, and I'm continuing. No, I'm not no longer the law police officer, but I'm currently the director of forensic clinic. And I've always been invested in making the community safe and making the community better overall, not just in crime, but public safety is probably something close to my heart for a very long time. But it's anything that I can do to make the community safer, education better. But we are different. We can culture here, we do things a little different. So the new laws that are in place, they're legitimate. And I don't know if you've seen the news stories from the current superintendent, the DA, about how outraged they are about some of these new laws that have been put in just all these things. They're not safe. They're not safe for people who carry guns. They're not safe for police officers who have to encounter someone who maybe couldn't carry a concealed weapon. So it's a concern for the community as a whole. And so that's why it's very, very important, so do this with shame and everybody gets out on November 5th. And both up and down the country, not just for the presidential candidate, but everybody up and down. So make sure you're putting people in place that are going to do what's best for the community as a whole and not some agenda people are here.
I just wanted to comment and kind of piggyback off of Chris. I am one of one of those influencers. I have like 500,000 people following me on Facebook. I have been a community and public speaker since 2012. But I don't gravitate to children. I gravitate to parents. And so what I have found is I don't have an advocate in the community much to help me get the parents. The youth is important. But I always hear about the youth. But if I get a youth for an hour a day that's going home to a broken mother 7 days a week, I can't effectively change them if I can't effectively change the home. And a broken mom and a broken dad is just as important as a broken child. So when I'm out here in the community and I'm trying to get the parents who are either don't know what's going on with their kids or are working 2 jobs trying to just keep a roof and the kid ain't listening. And I don't have nothing in my community that's for the parents. We're leaving broken parents and we're saying, hey, we need this for you, this for you, this for you. They're going home to a dysfunctional mother. And so I'm asking my community, my city, to partner with me to help me get help for the parents, single mothers who are broken, who are still making $10 an hour because minimum wage ain't being raised. And so she got to choose between a roof and governing her kids. And I don't know what to do with that because I'm turning around and saying, we got to get the kids that's fighting. Well, who's getting the mama that's got to govern the kids? So I'm asking if the NOPD, my DA's office, my public officials can partner with me and we can come up with ideas to do parenting classes, emotional support, things that are needed because the parents are broken. And I'm one of the only advocates that's not an advocate for children. I just partner with advocates for children because I'm trying to keep the family together, but we can't leave one component out.
Thank you.
Definitely. We can't.
So much with that.
And that's why I'm going to give it the yes, ma'am.
Yes, and so that's right, and we are. We're trying to just keep our head above water to survive, but we need a city that thrives. And before you're next, Pastor, before I move on, oh wait, I'm sorry, I just have to say something. Okay, Pamela, step up to Louisiana. Here, come on. This is your turn. Miss Pamela was supposed to speak in the beginning.
Yeah, but I think you all need to hear from these folks first. Separate Louisiana is an organization with membership organization. There are over 500 members in the state, and we can work on many different issues. Fair housing, the workers' bill of rights, which is on your ballot on November 5th. Vote for that #1. It's a yes. The workers' bill of rights means, fair hire, $15 an hour minimum wage, which is an atrocity that we're just getting $15. I think you all need to really think about, when we talk about what's happening to you, it really is about parents. You have parents and I want to talk to you about it. So please come talk to me about it. We are interested in bringing back community schools, not what happened. Unfortunately, we've lost 2 generations of children through that type of schooling. So I just want you to make aware that our stuff on that table about what Southern Louisiana is all about. We have our fingers just about everything. You will see us more and more. Probably have to use orange shirt. That's not an orange shirt, so that you can see me more. But understand, Southern Louisiana wants to help in all ways because it's about being holistic, it's about the type of fight that we have to put up. So I just want to make you aware of that.
Thank you, Pamela. Pamela, that was really on time. And maybe that was meant to happen like that. Because that was really on time. So let's go to password. You had a question, and then we're going to go to, I believe, jumping and password. You ready? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Shaq Williams, and I am community from with the New Orleans Police Department. I go directly at every team. I was in the privilege with the opportunity to go and sit into what's called the drip meeting, where they discuss a lot of crime, everything that occurs around our city. I think we see with the clusters of crime and so on and so forth. But the one thing that I want to make that was happening here. And the reason why I think that was happening here is because this is a community thing, right? Why is it that the community is an advocacy? And one thing I need was trying out elected officials and how they would be for having the responsibility to get the community to be. The community has the responsibility to. But the young lady who just, I don't know where she's been, she's an influence. Why are we actually talking to the influencers about the events that's coming up so that they can flood this entire the resources that our elected officials, our New Community Department, our VA's office, and all the extra efforts that they're putting in to help our streets become some of the best streets in the South. I don't think that you all are fully aware of the effectiveness that has taken place that started under the chief reform in this still continuing now. But the one thing that I hate, and I'm going to say this, let me start off from a pastor's perspective first. I've had town halls just for pastors to come and sit and meet with the DA, you give a testimony, the police chief, the mayor, the governor, the lieutenant governor, all those people, and pastors come and attend. Where are the pastors from this community today? You understand? So let me start off by saying, pastors, we got to get our stuff together first, right? But as pastors, I don't think that the DAs and all the local officials with the pastors don't show up. I go back to the pastors and tell them what they're happening. And I think that we as community people, and this is by the way, I don't live in a church, I live in one. But I have a responsibility to the city of New Orleans. From the capacity that I serve, and I have a committed in bad shape, and New Orleans East is good, and that's what's going to happen. That bad apple is going to be continued to affect and erode for other apples in the back into New Orleans because of the impact as well, right? So it's good that you all who are here are as passionate about your community. But what we need to do is stop trying to take out a victory on the people who are trying, right? And take out the people who sit at home and wait to watch Bob Cole's Facebook post as he asked at a place where he should have really just been understood protocol and followed it. And then everybody else has the same access to the heard. So I want to applaud you because I met you at the coffee shop. And she told me what she was doing. I said, well, whatever you're doing, I'm with it, especially if you want to better the city of New Orleans. I want to commend you, brother, because from day one that I remember this man, I can tell you all something personal. During the height of COVID, when it was just getting started, he came and met with a room full of pastors, 120 something of us to be exact. And you know what he said? He said, we need, from my perspective, pastors to help me make a decision. He believed that spiritual involvement from our clergy would be impactful and that we as leaders would come to get close to people, gain people coming to our ministry on Sundays. And he said, if we need to be actively involved and change the culture and the mindset of the people, not only as it takes our police department, Guess what happened? But I want you all to know this. Community. Go among. Talk to the people in the community who can talk to you about everything that they don't like, and they make sure, young man, I love your passion. Continue to remain that way. Continue to be, but understand this. There's two sides to every story. Always there's a two sides. I'm not telling you down. I'm not telling you down. I'm not telling you down.
Thank you, Councilor. Did you have anything specific you wanted to ask either Sergeant or?
No, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you. And thank you for all the work that you do in the community. Because we know there's a lot of grassroots people out there doing this work. And it's hard work. It's not easy. Okay. Y'all are going to be the last, and then we're going to wrap it up with Sergeant Barnes and Attorney Williams. And before we do that, I really want to thank y'all so much for coming out and sticking and staying and really hearing this, because I know this is kind of a long meeting, but we covered a lot. We really did. And I really thank y'all for being patient and listening, willing to answer questions. I also want to thank Ms. Pamela Wood with Step Up Louisiana. They're our community resource partner tonight. And again, PCABs are not funded. Everything y'all get tracked up there, well, not everything, most of it. This is my light bill. That's right. Entity gonna cut me off, but y'all have something. But I want to thank Michelle McGowan and Stella of Office of Independent Police Monitor. I want to thank Chief Whitmore. Thank you, Chief. And I want to thank the First District. We had a few of our guys here tonight, but Chief Allen wasn't able to make it. He knew also we were going to become events on this topic. And we want to thank Executive Chief Government and the Mayor's Office on Neighborhood Engagement. But I really want to thank our volunteers who stepped up, and I thank y'all. Lamont Wilson, hey, let's give a round of applause. Please give the recording and all this. So, we have to record of it. Rosalind, Robert, Theodore, and thank you for the beautiful prayers. Thank you for coming. And Tom, thank you for welcoming, and thank you for keeping our agenda straight and signing everybody in. Nobody, thank you for carrying that ice and Tommy, the Lord Center, Jamaica Center of the Lord, and you and your staff, fantastic. Okay, so I have to look there. I'm sorry, baby. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay, everybody else? All right. So we're going to take our final comments. I wanted to give those thank yous to these persons because if it's allowed, if they have time, they have an opportunity to share with you guys. Okay? If they have time. Not offering your time unless you have it. All right. Tony, who's coming?
Hi, my name is Tony, or Antonia from New Orleans Community Oversight of Police. I just wanted to highlight that we had a lot of conversations around lack of resources for others, lack of resources for families, lack of resources for communities, and what's going on in NOPD, and overall lack of funding, overall lack of the community to be able to get involved. NOPD has all the money. You can see that every year in the city budget. The NOPD is the one that has the money. The reason why community is not here today is because the PCAB don't have any resources to work with, and also when people come to these meetings, they don't have the assurance that any recommendation put forward by the PCAB is not being kept track of by the NOPD. It's not being implemented by the NOPD. So what incentive does the community have to come and step up to a table where nobody else is listening to what they have to say? So that's one thing. Another thing that I wanted to encourage folks is that, we want to have civilian input in NOPD. We want to have civilian power in NOPD, because without that fundamental power, there's no way for the community to trust the department, without any way for us to hold the department accountable. And so for those that are concerned about the consent decree, and folks that are concerned about what this means, I want to invite y'all to come out tomorrow, because we're going to be talking to the press, especially for what the community is saying, when they're concerned about the consent decree, they're concerned about NLP versus policing, they're concerned about compliance around these reports, and we have statistics by the police officers, but we also stand for being a progressive force in this, and I want to make sure I catch this before you leave. But I just wanted to say that on simply an oversight. And that right now, there's not a guaranteed future for what the next sustainment ruling will be, but we do know that for policing the fundamental change in the city, there has to be community input, and that community input has to be guaranteed. It needs to be a recommendation or a suggestion that needs to be codified, that needs to have a real awareness input. And I thank you, Ms. Morgan, for putting that effort into the PCAB meeting. But we need more. We need more from the city. And so I'll pass this to Felix so we can get a question from the TA.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all.
Yeah, Russ, go ahead.
Oh, cool. Hey, y'all. Felix, I appreciate you also this morning, and I appreciate you bringing the focus on all these racist laws that have been passed by Jeff Landry. We were discussing the 25-foot rule earlier today, and I appreciate what you said. They're intended to have a chilling effect on activism. I think that's exactly right. And I think probably most of us agree, or a lot of us do. Jeff Landry he's a white supremacist, he's a fascist, he's a racist, all these things. So that's exactly what he intends. He's passing all these racist laws. So what I wanted to ask you with regard particularly to this idea of these things that are kind of trying to chill activism was I was really concerned about their decision to prosecute all those students at Tulane earlier. For those who don't know, it was a bunch of anti-war protesters, mostly students, and it seems like we have enough problems coming from people like Jeff Landry. We have enough political repression, enough racist repression from them. We have enough racist repression and racial bias coming from the NOPD, as Tony mentioned. I think one of the statistics was that of all instances of use of force against men in this community in 2023, it was against black men, and this is a 56% black men. So we have plenty of problems. We got 25 total as we discussed earlier. So why did you make that a priority to kind of engage in and just pile on to all this repression we're already facing? And these were clearly bogus charges, and I mean they were found not guilty as well. So I'm just curious why.
So I'll tell you.
Can you hear me? Okay.
I believe in the system. I believe that the system has to work the same way. Regardless of whether the person has influence, regardless of whether the person can work with Tulane Royal, or whether they can afford to go to college at all. And we didn't prosecute anybody based on the beliefs. It was purely based on the actions that were taken. Now, I believe anyone has a right to protest anything, anywhere. I don't believe I would even have the ability to sit on a jury, let alone be your DA as a black man in the Deep South, if it wasn't for people who protested in the Deep South, right? But when we start talking about if there's been destruction of property or trespassing,
why did we wait to the last hour of the last day about those stuff and accept those charges? I'll have the court. We came in the morning, y'all's office waited to the last second, literally, to accept those charges if it was so obvious.
here's the thing though, you gotta even want to hear my answer.
Yeah, let's go to
You're talking about there's still pressing charges, felony charges against students at this moment. Why?
If anyone is charged with crime,
So we had the panel presidents, Mike Bassett, hit one of our folks in his car. He filed over the IFM. We talked to the federal monitors. No one's told us anything about anything happening to Mike Bassett for political reasons. But when these students, I've gotten a first claim standing on public property just speaking, not at their camera, before their camera. So why do people like us, and prosecutors like you, when people who truly have influence do not get prosecuted. And don't play games because we do this every day. So actually address.
I do it every day too. Okay? I do it every day too. And I've been in your age, and I've been this hot, and you're hot, and things that I think are unfair. But I've got a job to do, and that job allows me to do it. Okay? And whether, and there are often times, first of all, with regard to Michael asking anyone, if someone in a uniform is broken the law, then we're going to investigate that as well, right? But you and I don't always have to agree. I'm going to make sure you're righteous for taking this, I'm going to make sure everyone else is righteous. And when you say, why the law is way too less, because we probably treat the case. Because just like every time I get something from Barnes, just because I like Barnes doesn't mean everything you put in the police report was accurate and correct. I got to double check. And it takes time to check it. And consistent answers.
But it's still prosecuted.
That's my job, it's prosecuting.
Yes, but prosecution on the aggressive DA. Why are you engaging in political repression? It's useless.
Let me tell you.
I was under the impression that you had one in, what's that China's name? The Morris White, to help your office go through prosecuting cases because y'all have like resources. But when it comes to Tulane University, you have all the resources to prosecute this false arrests. You know, we still got people going to court over bogus stuff.
Why are you talking about this man's subject?
He works in your office. He works in your court.
What were you suggesting that he played some role in this case?
I'm suggesting why you provided resources to your office and not to our community. You brought people in to help provide resources to the community, but the community doesn't get these resources. You don't have to take the community when you talk to cases for Tulane University.
Why would you say that I don't prosecute cases? I'm the only case. I'm going to finish talking. I respect you and you respect me. Okay? I'm the only DA in this state who is prosecuting murder case or rape case and convicted a person who's been mystery.
You walk around one of these other parishes, you find somebody, Republican or Democrat, who's walked into court, picked a jury, and tried the case. Not because it's a good case or a bad case, but because it was necessary, because somebody hurt someone in this community. Whether you like me or not, that's not my issue. I didn't run to make friends, I would have sold snowballs. I am a prosecutor, which means sometimes people have to go to jail. Now, when I prioritize a case, you'll know it. And there's no reason to prioritize trespassing when people getting murdered, raped, and armed robbed in the city of New Orleans. So don't say that this office prioritized something when there was one officer. You're not going to tell me how to do my job, but I will accept the criticism readily. And I will invite you to my office to take more of it. What I'm not going to let you do is cherry pick facts and bring up someone who played no role in the case. And the only thing you brought up about this man is that he is you. That's it. You have to listen. You'll never be effective in what you do because you don't listen. You ask a question, he supplies the answer. He supplies the answer.
Okay, guys. We've had a great meeting so far.
You'll never be effective.
Lord has got to put us out because we're going over on time. Tony, Felix, Tony, is there a possibility that you guys can have a meeting? Because we're not going to work it out here tonight. Can you guys get together? Or how do you want to
We
do
can
it?
absolutely get together. I just invited them to my office. But what I cannot do is, I can only speak to a represented person. I can only speak to their lawyer. The law does not allow me to talk about a case with someone who is not a party to the case. There's certain laws that I have to follow. I will absolutely speak with you about anything you want to discuss in my office, in community, what have you. And we don't have to walk away from it if you agree with me. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to fight with you when I'm interested in what you have to say.
Okay. So look, let's agree to disagree for right now because I think we've had a great meeting. We've had a great meeting. Would y'all agree? We've had a great meeting. We've had a great meeting. We got informed. We got instructions down. We got people who are out in their fields coming into our community and helping us get informed. What do we want to walk away with tonight? The fact that the consent decree, we in the community get engaged. We are in a deadline. We're on the clock. That's a big takeaway. Did everybody get an agenda that we attached? The judge's information here. Did everybody get one? If you didn't get one, we got more. All right?
I think you just something to say very important.
What is that? Oh, we gotta go.
He said that people need to look at the other side of the
Yes.
whether or not it's a league, if it's would it be something else?
Okay. Thank y'all, everybody. I want to thank Sergeant Dave Owens. I want to thank Mr. Attorney Ray. And thank everybody for coming.